This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Of course your Buick parks itself. That's so you.
It's just up here on the right.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kinda got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
Hit the field, warm up. You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yeah,
So you.
it is.
There's a Buick that fits your life, because at the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working!
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Timok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1. All right, hello and welcome to another edition of the BCSN Sports Wrap. I'm Brian Fulford. That's 80 Drew. And next to him, if you're going left to right, is Jamie Walker. Jamie Walker joining us on today's show. Drew, Jamie, how you fellas doing?
I am doing wonderful, man. How are you all?
Doing great, my brother. Doing great. You know, Jamie, I'm supposed to put you on blast. You know, you got that question all throughout media day. Where was your show? When were you gonna be on the air board? Everything like that. Well, brother, this may not be your show, but you always got a seat right there to my right, your left, I guess.
Well, I appreciate it, sir. I appreciate it tremendously. You know, I love being on with you all. Y'all brothers have always kept it real. So, hey, I'm always, willing to come through.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining us. I'm sitting here trying to still take in everything from the past week, from the past few days. Really, just doing a lot of catch up. As I'm just kind of going through, and I've been watching videos, still catching up because there were so many. That's the thing. Nobody, at least nothing that I processed early. When you have something like 200 media members, so many different content creators have stuff out there. So I'm still parsing through different clips, and everybody's dicing it up differently, which is what I like. There's the YouTube videos, there's the YouTube shorts, there's stuff that's popping up on Facebook, stuff popping up on Twitter. So the content is, I think we're still going to be digesting this meal for about a whole nother week. Because like I said, I keep coming across something new every time, and and then there's the media guides and thing. I don't know what's it been like for you, Jamie, in terms of processing things over the last 3-4 days.
Difficult to some degree. I think you have a lot when it comes to the outline of teams already there. But along with that, you have situations where the transfer portal is in place, and so you have a lot of chain of positions and changing of coaching staffs and things of that nature. So I think when you look at the ways that teams are kind of being restructured in this new form of how college football is kind of going, you better do your studying and research because you never know who's in what position. So I think it's been hard but fun. It's kind of like NFL free agency in certain senses, being that you're seeing where new players are when it comes to new teams and just how they fit within that squad. So yeah, it's been interesting. Definitely interesting. I wouldn't call it any harder, but definitely more layers to the puzzle.
Right. And Drew, I mean, my goodness, man, you covered the CIAA and SWAC back-to-back days. I think I saw one of your posts. You said something like, 3 airports in 2 nights or something, 2 hotels, something like that. Oh, 3 airports in one day.
Yes, 3 airports in one day. Let's see, 2 media days in two different cities and states, 2 different regions of the country. I'll drive to the airport, Uber rides, drive from one airport to Birmingham, flew out of Atlanta to Roanoke, Virginia, flew back to Atlanta, then drove to Birmingham, all in the same day. So y'all wonder why I didn't wasn't really talkative when I got to Birmingham that night. It's because I had been up since 3 o'clock that morning, and I was on hour 22 by the time I got to Birmingham.
Well, hey, thankfully though we had enough people there so that everybody could get a piece of it. I mean, look, they had 12 schools show up. We almost had 12 hosts. So look, we had I think everybody had about 2 schools. So it kind of parsed out, even up the work. So I don't think anyone really had to do a whole lot of extra work. I think I may have started the show in the beginning, and really, after
Took
that,
about 2 hours away from the set.
I did. I kind of was away for like an hour and a half, man. I don't know. It's not like I went. Trust me, I did not go sneak off and go to sleep. I wasn't eating, wasn't drinking coffee, wasn't in the bathroom. I actually ended up, just in the main stage area, kind of watching a little bit. I think I watched FAMU and Grambling on the stage. Had some good conversations with a few people that were in. And, and then by the time it was like, hey, Brian, we're looking for you. And it's like, oh, really? It's just one of those things. It was good to kind of be able to get away and do that. And so I still didn't get a chance to talk to everybody that I wanted to, but it's going to be like that. Let me ask you, well, first off, before I ask my next question, let me go through the usual intros. I want to say hello to everybody watching us on YouTube and Facebook. Happy Sunday. To everybody, Mary 305, SWAC Fan 100 out there jumping in early on YouTube. Those on Facebook who are watching, we appreciate you coming in. If you're watching us, please make sure to like, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the Black College Sports Network, or however you are watching this feed. Please make sure you're following us on all social media accounts. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number 1. And go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google and Apple Play Store. MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can find it. All of our shows will be up on podcast format via the BCSN Pod Zone, which is everywhere you listen and download podcasts. So coming up a little bit later in the show, we've got LaShanda Love from the Icon Collective and Yard Talk HBCU. She'll be coming on. I was watching her show the other day, and she calls, I think I'm saying this right, the mouth on Twitter. I think it's something like that she glossed herself, or maybe somebody glossed her that. I'm not really sure, but I love that, by the way. And so she's going to be joining us here at the bottom of the hour. Hour 2. Chris Ferguson, D2Football.com, also writes stories for HBCU Game Day. He will come in at the top of the hour, and talk to us a little bit about CIAA, Media Day, preseason, CIAA. And then at the bottom of hour 2, Charles Edmond, Alcorn State Sports Radio, will come in. Of course, he got a chance to talk to I think he said he spoke to 11 of the 12 coaches. So, Charles is a veteran, and we'll get a chance to all talk with him. All right, so that's the guest lineup for today's show, fellas. But let me ask you guys this question, and it will come up a little bit later because Charles and I were having this discussion offline. With the number of media that were there and the format, apparently the ESPN broadcast started late. I didn't even know that. Apparently it started about 20 minutes behind schedule. And so it kind of threw everybody's timing off. And some people were there a long time. Do you think it's time for the SWAC to rethink the format of the way this media day is? Meaning, could it be possibly time for a 2-day? Is it possibly time to do 2 different shifts, maybe a morning shift and an afternoon shift? What are your guys' thoughts on that? Whoever wants to jump in there first and has some thoughts or comments on that.
Well, if you go to a 2-day format, and this is a legitimate question, and I think all of the coaches and athletic directors, will there be teams favored more than others, and you have 100 media one day and 250 on a different day? This year, we all know the SWAC, the SWAC East is the hot side of the SWAC. But down the line, it may be the SWAC West. Well, let's think about it. You've got Coach Prime, enough said right there.
I got Hugh Jackson on Grambling. I'm gonna counter you everyone you go. I'm gonna counter it. I got Hugh Jackson on the other side.
You've got the first SWAC team to make the FCS playoffs in 20 years. And FAMU
Okay.
on the east
Okay.
side.
I've got
Who you gonna
Southern.
counter
Okay.
that with?
I've got Southern. I've got Dooley going back home. I've got Southern, the brand.
All right. You've got the personality of Connell Maynor. Just the personality itself, in addition to the success.
I've got Eddie Robinson Jr. He's an interesting personality.
East side.
He's not quite Connell Maynor.
East side. East side.
Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. Clarence McKinney, no. Vincent Dancy, maybe. Bubba McDowell. I didn't hear anything from Bubba McDowell. All right, go ahead. I'm listening. But Connell was real quiet. He wasn't really talkative. He was real humble. I thought he was real quiet. I don't know, but go ahead.
But you understand what I'm saying. So you got to figure is there going to be one side or the other. What I would like to see, though, maybe to possibly speed the process up, maybe the SEC style with the press conference style media day, where the coach comes, they do their interviews, do their address, and then they do a press conference. Because how many times did those coaches have to answer the same question in every interview? Yeah, I mean, how many times did those players have to answer the same question in every interview? So maybe
what's the season looking like for you this year?
Yeah, if you do that and get those generic questions out of the way, then you can spend your 5-10 minutes, how many whichever time they allot you, with the coach or the player, get into some specific questions and not get the general. Hey, how does it feel for you to be chosen as one of the players here at the SIA's at the SWAC Media Day? Coach, what's your outlook on the season? Those general type questions. Get those out in the press conference portion of the media day, and then maybe that allow more time for everybody to touch. But here's the other thing, Brian, and I'm gonna let Jamie chime in on this. I think the SWAC Media Day may have outgrown the venue that it's in. That may be more of an issue than anything else right now.
Jamie, what are your thoughts on that? On any of those points that I or Drew brought up?
I think that they could extend the day. I don't think they need to be in 2 days yet. Because for a lot of reasons, I want to see what the SWAC Media Day will be once certain coaches are not in place anymore. I think, it's like it is. The media has grown due to the celebrity status of a couple of squads. And so I think as popularity grows, not to say that the popularity of the SWAC will leave, but I also think that extending the day maybe to 3 o'clock, or even more if you need to, and the format change would aid in it. I think that's a great idea as far as the opening presser or opening statements by the head coaches initially would be a help. I think the question and answer section of that could be refined, because that's what was falling behind. But I would also like to see what makes the SWAC great involved in its media day. I want some of that pageantry of HBCU athletics to be involved in it as well. Because I think you don't have to be like everyone else, but I do think it would help to maybe, switch it up a little bit, feature our programs. And I think it's a good way to actually highlight some of the great things about the squads as well. Not just, question and answer section, because you're always going to get coach speak. All 3 of us have been involved in having to answer questions about sport at some point. Even, being involved in coaching, regardless of what level it's on. So I think you're never going to give too much You have those that are vocal, which is cool, but primarily you're going to get coach speak. So I think media that comes up and does their research and asks these questions that the people really want to know instead of them being involved in other things. I think you can switch up that format to kind of get more just authentic answers involved. So it doesn't have to be the same kind of media day that the SEC or any other conference would be. So I think hey, try some different things.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm a advocate of extending the day. And I think I said this after last year. Extending the day where you have a 9 to 12 shift for one division in East gives you that opportunity to really focus in on, like you said, those pressers so that you can have those press conferences. And then really, because remember, you're working with not only print media, radio, TV,
digital.
and then you got the photojournalism. You got the photojournalists there as well, doing
That's an excellent
static
point.
photos. So I think in having the 3-hour window for one particular division really puts more emphasis and gives everybody a chance to kind of consume that division without having to try to catch this person, catch that person, so on and so forth, and then you're not shuffling around. I'm here, and then here, what you do is at noon you get the break for lunch, because by the time Grambling got to us, I was told they hadn't eaten, and it was probably 1:30, maybe going into 2 o'clock by the time Grambling got to us. So it was like, yo, you guys didn't eat. How did Grambling not eat? I get it if media don't eat, but there were a lot of media eating. But anyway, I understand if the
media was the
eat.
first to eat. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna judge nobody for wanting to go get
Jamie, what I tell you when I saw the food was in there?
Hey man, you say you better go ahead in there, man. You're about to run. They're about to take it up. It's like, whoa! I was working. I was interviewing folks.
It was too many of us around there. I was like, you better go get something now before it's gone, brother.
Yeah. See, last year I didn't eat anything, and so when I saw Drew eating, I said, oh hell! I said, hold on, let me tell.
And if y'all know anything about Drew, I may be slim, but I'm gonna find me a plate.
Yeah. So I unfortunately I had somebody grab me a plate and sit it to the side, and I think I did eat it maybe about 30, 40 minutes later. So I was thankful for that. But yeah, no team should, no group of players, coaches, they should not have gone that period of time without eating. Now somebody may say, oh, that's bad on them. They should have figured that out. But look, that's what, if in a format change where you get the 12 to maybe 12:45, you give them time to eat, all the teams, because let's say the one division that's finishing has time to eat. The division that's about to start at 1, they've got time to come in and eat before they start, right? So now you start at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, here we go, session number 2 begins. So that's going to run from 1 to 4 o'clock. And look, you're done now.
It also give us in the media time to refresh, also, because that's a tiring day, having to go around, and you got to have someone's got to chase down people for interviews. You got to make sure that we got people. Now, we were lucky. There were double digits of us on our team. There was about 12 of us on the BCSN team that was there. I'm probably short on that number, Brian, if I'm really counting. Probably closer to 15 of us when you're talking about cameras and runners and this and that and everything like that. But we probably had one of the largest presence of media groups there.
I would say from a group perspective, yeah, you're probably right.
Especially on the digital side.
Right. And I was funny as I'm watching, and again, I'm going back and I'm watching how other people do their feeds, because every year is a growth experience. I think we changed our style of what we did from last year to this year, by kind of doing it the way we did, and I like it. And I think there's even some other things I think we could have done, but I think in that format space, like I'm really amazed. Like I saw people getting time at the tables. I've seen some video clips from the table. It's just, I know there's a schedule. It just is really challenging. So I'll be interested to hear what the SIDs go back to Andrew Roberts, the associate vice of or the associate. I forgot his new title. He's the one of
Associate commissioner
he's in,
for something.
Thank you. Communications, I think it is. Yeah, I wanted to say associate. I couldn't quite figure out the next part of that, but
And he
yeah,
did.
I mean,
And
he sort of
that brother did a great job too, putting everything together. Because I didn't get to the hotel until 12:30 local time, and this brother was still running around setting this up, setting that up. Hey, you need anything, AD?
Oh yeah, he
And
took care of
everything. He was
everybody
right.
there, I believe.
I know that brother probably didn't get to bed after 2 o'clock, and I know he was up by 7, up
Well,
and
look, in that
downstairs by
role,
7.
hey, in that role, that's your event. You know what I'm saying? So you want everything. You know, you run events, Drew, Jamie. You've done events. You know, when it's your thing, that's his thing. That's media day. Dr. McClellan probably went, "Hey, Andrew, this is your thing, baby. Make it happen. What do you need from me? Let me know. Who do I need to give you to make it
If
work?"
I don't talk to you, it's a good thing. That means there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong at my level.
Probably right. So props to Andrew Roberts for everything he did and set up, and still, got things released, such as the all conference awards and the predictions and all that stuff. So shout out to Mr. Roberts there. But yeah, I'll be interested to kind of hear feedback from some of the other shows later this week if anybody gets into those discussions regarding the formatting. And again, I'm still going through stuff. So as you've gone back and listened, any sound bites? I remember during the show we were talking about viral moments. Remember we talked about would there be any viral moments from out of SWAC Media Day? I already have one.
You got one.
Jamie, Drew, any
I'm gonna let you go first, Jay.
Any viral moments that you captured from SWAC Media Day?
Not that I picked up right away. Because we all, you and I both did SIAC Media Day, and when it came to Coach Willie Slater, it was a lot going on. So you caught that immediately. You caught all the, he didn't just throw shade; he threw an entire tree. But
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Boy, did he!
But
out the ground,
but I didn't catch any. No, yeah, he did. Oh yes, in fact, I want to be at that game, but not immediately. I'm still going back and listening to certain stuff from SWAC Media Day, but I didn't get any right offhand.
The one that I picked up on, I did not pick up on until the next day, and it was not something that was said on our airwaves. It was the comment about Bethune Jackson State and why the game was moved
ding.
Why the game was moved from from Daytona to Jacksonville. Our fans not going to travel there. Blah blah blah. So indirectly, he took a shot at his own fans, like, "Hey, y'all follow us when it's convenient. This may not be convenient because I don't know how much a flight from Jackson, Mississippi, to Jacksonville, Florida, is, but that's not. It's an easy ride once you get to I-10. But you talk about a long boring ride. That is definitely a long boring ride down I-10 from Jackson, and I don't think you go 55 to 10, but maybe you do. And then what? Bethune averaging 5,000 fans, and I think for me, from where I sit, I think it's the fact that Dion is afraid that he's going to play in front of an empty house. in Jacksonville, where what's the name of Bethune Stadium? I can't think of the name of it, but it holds like 9,500.
They play at Municipal Stadium in Daytona
and it holds
Beach,
about 90. It holds about 9,500.
9,500.
Right.
Yeah.
And I understand what Prime was saying. I'd rather see that 9,500 stadium full than that same 9,500 people in a 60,000 seat stadium. You're gonna be looking like Tennessee State over there. It's like when Tennessee State plays at Nissan Stadium instead of Hale Stadium.
Well, look, I got the audio because I pulled up the tweet. Okay, and this comes from, I hope I'm saying the name right, Jamal St. Cyr. He's a sports anchor for WZXT4, which is in it's in the Jacksonville area. News 4 Jacksonville. They cover Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. Okay, so this is from his feed. I'm assuming this is him who asked it. I'm curious as if it's going to play. But in the Twitter feed, in the tweet, it says Deion Sanders is not happy about the decision to move the Jackson State versus Bethune-Cookman game to TIAA Bank Field. Sanders says, quote, "Why are we playing in an NFL stadium?" I'm going to play the audio here and just I'm going to let you just marinate on it for a second. Let me see if it plays accurately here.
We can't hear the audio.
Okay, so the audio's not playing.
Okay. Hey,
okay.
Brian. I think I'll see we'll do it after break. We'll do it sometime during one of these breaks because we got our guests waiting in the lobby.
Okay. So yeah, we'll play that because our next guest she even had threw a little salt and pepper on the on this particular quote. So
she always stirring up trouble on Twitter.
I'm gonna go back and get it. She glossed herself the mouth on Twitter. I think that's how she did it. So coming up after the break, we will talk with the one and only LaShanda Love at Yard Talk HBCU. Yard talk, big talk. She talks it, boy, and she walks it too. So it's a pleasure to have her on coming up after the break. And we'll get into talking about if Drew's able to pull it up. You let me know if you need me to send you
I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, actually you did, and I'd already seen it. So you have it.
Right.
So maybe we can come in, and after the break, we'll start there, and we'll come back with LaShanda Love right on the other side right after this break. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian, AD, and Jamie Walker. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG, Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
It's like a loop machine. Going around town, trying to get down.
pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Of course your view of Parks itself. That's so you.
It's just up here on the right.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kind of got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
Hit the field, warm up. You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yeah,
So you.
it is.
There's a Buick that fits your life because at the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working!
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders scalp shield, never not working.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Tybok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier Blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, AD Drew, Jamie Walker, and joining us right now, affectionately known by some people out there in the Twitterverse as the loud voice on Twitter, it's LaShanda Love of the Icon Collective, as well as at Yard Talk HBCU on Twitter and on YouTube. LaShanda, how are you doing?
Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me back because I know I snuck up the place last time.
Stop it.
No, y'all remember, I was, listen, my it had got dark, but when we started, it was like 5:30-ish, and I was so afraid to move and turn the light on that I was just sitting there in the dark. Y'all don't remember
Now I remember.
I do remember that. There were people like, hey, man, tell her to cut the lights on, man. She's giving some good we can't see her. At that point, it just became just an audio thing there. But no, it was
radio
interview.
It was
exactly. It was still good. For the people on podcast, it was still good. So, LaShanda, let's first go into talking about how you consumed SWAC Media Day. Let's start there. You were just kind of telling us offline your whole setup, but let us know how you consumed that day.
Well, I had the HBCU League Pass Plus app on my TV because, you know, I'm always talking about support Black-owned media. So I had that up on your channel, BCSN, and then I had to watch ESPN from my phone, and I had my brother let me use his login for that because I ain't got that.
We understand. A lot of people face those kind of challenges.
That's why Netflix is getting ready to go out of business because of people like you.
We like
quietly up the prices. So
right.
So between watching HBCU League Pass plus watching the ESPN kind of mixing, and then you're following, of course, on social media. Give us maybe a couple of takeaways from Media Day, maybe some nuggets because you're one of the things I love about following you. You're very good about picking out certain things in the phrasing or terminology or the words that people say. Sometimes people don't listen. People just, they just read and then they stop comprehending. But you do a good job of picking up on things as they're being said. So what's a couple of things you may have picked up?
The formatting of I was trying to figure out because I thought actually the commissioner would go last and the coaches would go first. Because I know that kind of would have kept people more engaged because everybody was waiting to hear from the commissioner. So it's kind of like when he went first and it was just kind of like, okay, then what's next? So I would have liked to maybe build up the anticipation for him to go last and then maybe have an open forum. I liked how I saw some clips from and I hate to use this comparison because I know we hate it, from the SEC day. Okay, just let that be okay. And they had open forum and they asked the commissioners, and the coaches questions and stuff like that. So I would have liked to see more fan interaction. And that's just me being a teacher. I know that engagement is very important for your audience.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, Miss Love, ever since she has come on the scene, has been a breath of fresh air to really this HBCU space. And the reason I say that is because anybody that challenges the status quo is always invited and should be noted. She pushes Black-owned businesses, Black-owned media space, and I love it. It's one of those things, and one of the sayings I get from her all the time is "Make it plain, make it plain." Like clearly what you're saying, what you're doing. All right, tell me how you're doing it. So she pushes the envelope in relation to definitely figuring out how we are moving monetarily, especially in these HBCU spaces. So my question for her is, what would you want to see us do differently? What would be the priority? Because I know on your page a lot of the times you have what we can do just in everyday spaces to get the notoriety to our programs. What's the first thing you would do to change how we do business in the HBCU space?
Well, I don't feel like that Black businesses have a seat at the table yet. It's like anytime a Black business comes along and says, hey, I have a better idea or a better way to do something, we automatically dismiss it. Like, why was our thing on ESPN? Did we get any kind of sponsorship dollars for that? Are we getting paid for our content? Do we own it? What can we do with it now? Somebody made the comment that they didn't see any ESPN marketing stuff anywhere. And I thought that was kind of strange because if this is an ESPN event, then, you would assume that it's being sponsored by them, but it was just not very clear on that. So to me, I just think that us being willing to accept new ideas is very important because it's like there are little cracks, but we still very reluctant to work with us. And it's so strange to me because HBCU, the B stands for Black, you would think more of our business practices would be more geared towards circulating the Black dollars within our own communities. But it doesn't seem like to me that that's the case. And quite honestly, it was very disappointing to see so many of our games on ESPN this year because where has all this energy been to show our game? Now you snatched up games. What'd you say?
The hell with the energy. I want the dollars.
Thank you. Where's the money that comes with that? I think at least every school has about 4 or 5 games. Who do you think is making the most money off of that? The schools or ESPN? Is there ad revenue sharing? I don't know. And I feel like that's some of the stuff that I don't even think we are abreast of that yet. When it comes, especially that media space, it's kind of new for us. We kind of just have went along with whoever gives us an offer because we're stuck in this exposure trap. And we don't realize we don't need people to know we exist.
Outstanding. And I'll ask one follow up if allowed. Just primarily, we talked about that exposure piece. I think you and me saw the same comment when it came to $185 million of exposure equivalency. How do you feel about that, really? And I want you. I want I want you to elaborate on just how that made you feel seeing that in particular,
Who
because I
said
know
that? First off,
what
who said it?
I have to
It
go
was in
back
the
and go get the
USA
tweet.
Today.
Okay.
I think it was AD Robinson that got the data and kind of put it out there that is what the school had generated since Coach Prime had been there.
And we've
So
always talked about just how much, are we beyond the exposure trap at this point, and how much we need to turn these into real dollars. So
they already have the
we,
data for the dollars. They already know what we're supposed to be getting paid. It's just us. It's up to us to be able to know that exists, and I don't think that we stood that particular part.
Well, hold on. Are we debating or arguing or questioning that 185 is? Are we saying that should be tangible? Is that because we got to understand that in the and I didn't hear the quote, so even Drew backed me up here from a business perspective as it relates to marketing dollars. That if what Robinson is saying is that they've been able to generate $185 million in marketing value, is that what he's saying? What is he? Is that what's being
Brian,
said here?
The nerd in me fits to come out now. The economist in me fits to come out.
Please, that's what I was trying to get you to do.
Just like when you see these NFL teams or MLB teams, when they talk about these new stadiums and they talk about economic impact.
Yeah.
This project is going to have $100 million economic impact on this community, whatever it is. Those numbers are artificial. Okay. Some things you could directly measure. Some things you cannot. Something that you could directly measure. On a given weekend, we'll just say homecoming weekend. We could directly measure the impact of homecoming in sales tax. A normal weekend, this company pays, say, $50,000 in sales tax. This particular weekend, their sales tax increases to $75,000. Well, that's directly measurable. That's a $25,000 impact that you can equate to homecoming. Not necessarily 100% of it, all of it is due to homecoming, but there's a good measuring stick. So you can measure things like sales tax, hotel tax, things, those things. Those are tangible things. Things that are bought and sold are things that can be measured, and that increase is that economic impact. Now, there are certain things that you cannot measure. Those eyeballs that are watching you on TV. How many eyeballs are really watching you on TV? How many eyeballs watch this weekend versus a different weekend? Those eyeballs equate to how many ad dollars for that ad agency.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, you know how these ad dollars work. So that's a different impact. But do you see that impact? As a consumer, do you see that impact? No. That ad agency and those people see that impact. But there's a way that that could be measured. If we knew that you got 1 penny or 0.1 penny per click or per viewer or whatever the case is, that's part of the 185. But that portion of that 185 has nothing to do with Jackson State. And there are different measurables throughout that have that. The thing is, how much of that is Jackson State really seeing? Jackson State has economic impact. They got to pay police officers overtime. They got to pay the people who cook the food overtime and everything else. They've got to pay them overtime. That's a measurable thing. That's part of that 185. But Jackson State not benefiting from that because they send that money right back out the door because they got to have it. They got to have police people. They got to have people doing parking. They got to have people doing the doing the cooking in the concession stand. Somebody got to make sure that the stadium is clean afterwards and stuff. So yeah, that number may or may not be true, but everybody, please understand, Jackson State has not seen $185 million because of Coach Prime.
Oh no, Drew. Nobody said that.
But there are people who are out there who see. There are people who are out there thinking they got $185 million. Why aren't they spending $185 million to help these kids? No, Jackson State does not have that $185 million. They have generated things. Look, we all educators here, correct? All of us work in somebody's school system. What is our value? We teach these kids. They pay us $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. But what is our economic impact? Well, our economic impact is the fact of us giving this education to these kids, and they go out and make a job. Where that kid who I taught 5 years ago, who's making $40,000 right now, that's part of my economic impact. But has Coach Drew seen any of that $40,000? Hell no.
Absolutely not.
But that's part of my economic impact.
Right, that's the point, right? We got to get more control of these things. Our schools got to be making the most money in these deals. We can't let them run off with the $185 million and we still trying to figure out how we going to do this and that and the other, worried about travel costs and stuff like that. I think that was the whole point of like me posting that and saying, look, guys, we having this argument about our value. It's all there are numbers out there that already exist. And I think some more stuff is actually going to really quantify that soon and qualify that very soon. And we'll really see, right?
Let me ask you this, and this is kind of along those same lines. This week, you posted a couple of videos, and after the second one, that's when I reached out to you, like, we got to get her on about the ESPN contract, the emails that you sent back and forth with ESPN. Go back and give us the quick version of it, of the original video, the follow-up video, and how that all transpired.
Well, because a lot of things didn't make any sense to me. And I do understand that sometimes, because I am a novice in this media space, it may be a legitimate reason for why I don't understand or something does not make sense. So if you tell me that, well, I'm going to say not tell me, but it was put out there that ESPN and the SWAC had an exclusive deal. Okay. According to what I was told, exclusive means you got to show all the games. Am I right on that? Otherwise, it's not exclusive. It's primary.
It's right. Primary, first rights, second rights,
rights of refusal,
third rights. Yes,
that's correct. Okay, so but we weren't told that. We were told that it was exclusionary. So I said, okay. I was having a hard time finding any information on my own online that says that. So I said, you know what? One day, because after let me tell you something. When they called me the loud voice on Twitter, that really just stuck with me. Because it ain't about being loud, right? But it did stick with me. So I said, okay. And then for everybody in the SWAC to go around, oh, Grambling and FAMU finna get the SWAC sued and they don't know what they doing. These people are scammers and all this type of stuff. I felt some kind of way about that because I know the things that at least my school is doing to try to support the kids and bring the university revenue. So I said, let me reach out to this person. And surprisingly, she messaged me back. And y'all know what she said, that it wasn't exclusionary. So, I mean, I had to tell the truth. I've been getting a lot of hate for it. But I feel like that it needed to be said because there are some things we've been told that just were not true. And it's actually preventing us from getting the revenue that we complain about. And it's stopping us from fixing the problems that we complain about. So that makes no sense to me at all. So if I got down that hill.
Look, I'll say one of the things, and I know this after some conversations I've had, Grambling, I'm going to say is pay attention to Grambling. I know for a fact there are schools in the SWAC that have seen what Grambling has done over the last 3 to 4 months and what's come in, and they are calling HBCU League Pass Plus, Urban Edge Network.
Oh, I know. Right?
Trying to figure out, hey, how can we get down? It's like, well, originally, and what I look, I don't know. People got to understand. I don't even want to. Look, just pay attention to Grambling. I'm so upset at Florida A&M because of stuff that's going on over there. We could be sitting in a good shape. Instead, we got coaches. We had 2 coaches that resigned, lost an equipment manager. I mean, it's like all hell.
Athletic department is in shambles, and if we don't pay attention real soon,
I won't say in shambles. I won't say it's in shambles, but it's being directly affected by decisions that came from way up higher ups, and it has affected dollars. It has affected orders, which could have led to revenue. But anyway, all that to be said, go ahead, Lashana. What are you going to add?
I just want to make sure I'm being clear about my thought process about exclusionary primary, secondary rights, and all that stuff. Can y'all explain it to make sure I understand? Because I did see a comment about it does not have to show all the games, so I just wanted to clarify what the correct response should be.
It's about terminology, though, and I'll let Brian chime in on that. You're right. Exclusion or exclusive means everything. You have it and no one else can do it. But most contracts, you have different levels. Primary, which means you have first rights. You get to go in, here are the games. You get to go in and pick your games. Those are primary rights.
Secondary may be wrong, but go ahead, Drew. Finish up. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying, and you really have to get into Dr. Cavill's SportsWrap because he can really break it down. But then you have secondary rights, and then you have the third rights, which are the tertiary rights. Yes, go ahead.
This is what when you think of exclusionary, think of this. The deal, because I'm trying to go back in my head and try to think, has anybody else broadcast a Notre Dame football home game other than NBC? I don't think
not the past 20 years.
No, that's your example of exclusionary rights. What NBC and Notre Dame has to broadcast home football games, that is your example. Nobody else gets into Notre Dame football stadium except NBC, right? But what you have in other places is you have, look, the fact that the SWAC this year, you've got games that are going to be on ESPN.
Let's use the SEC. That's probably what everybody could relate to.
No, I'm not. I'm tired of us using the SEC because we have to move away from that. We have to move away from that. No, it is a bad it's bad, Drew, because because what ends up happening is people ends up saying, "Oh, we should be like that." We ain't like the SEC. We ain't got SEC money. We don't have presidents that act like the SEC presidents do. We don't have the television dollars that the SEC has. We only have athletic directors that think like SEC folks. So we need to stop. The only thing that the SEC and the SWAC has is black boys that run across the field and put on helmets. That's the only thing that the SEC and the SWAC have in common. And they're in the same footprint states. That's it. I'm sorry. Everything else, we need to move off of that example about the SWAC and the SEC. So, all that said, I'm just saying that we've got games that appear on the SWAC. I'm sorry, that just came out because I don't want to use the SEC. I know it's the easy low-hanging fruit, but God dog, man, we setting everybody up for failure by continuing to use them as the example. The SWAC has games on ESPN, right? We can debate about the value and good and bad and whether the dollars that come in. But guess what? This year, they're also going to have a series of games that appear to be going on another platform, right? You'll have games that will appear probably on HBCU League Pass Plus. You're gonna have games that appear on people's YouTube channels. I don't even know how that, but whatever. So there's
Listen, I think my people missed it when FAMU posted about, and I put it on my page. When FAMU posted about where their games are going to be shown, it said that it was going to be, I think it was HBCU Go, and then they said, but it would also be shown through a network of national, something about a national network or something
National
like
networks.
that. And I think people missed that part because basically they're saying not only will it be on HBCU Go, but like you said, Brian, YouTube TV. We're gonna. So it's the point is there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right, we so stuck though. Like, go ahead, Brian.
Here's what's one of the things that I think when we talk about the dollar and value, and I heard Dr. McClellan say this to on when Roland Martin, and I know he talked to us briefly. I know he talked the HBCU game that I haven't seen their video, but I was watching what he talked when he talked to Roland Martin, and he talked about the $8.4 million that went to membership. To the member schools. This year was a record year. No school received less than like 750,000 less than. That might have been the low number. The highest number went somewhere in the ballpark of $3.2 million to Jackson State. And he basically said that those monies come from the resources that come from distribution, right? From not only the incentives, but from incentives, the academic sponsorships. So there are ways that, the SWAC, which right now sits as the number 3 conference in the FCS in terms of its distribution, its revenue distribution, and it's on its way to probably being the top in a few years, according to him. And which are maybe even out. He says that it may even outdraw a few FBS schools, which I mean conferences. Which if you think about some of the lower tier FBS conferences, he's probably right. It probably will surpass in a few years, but there is money going to schools. Money is going to schools. Now, you want to know exactly? Go look at those budgets. When your school does those budgets, and they talk to their board of directors, 'cause I've seen it. I've seen what FAMU estimated, and that's why when I heard 700-something thousand, I said, what? I said, oh, because the number that FAMU estimated was way lower than that. But then again, they've only been in the conference for a year, so you want to know more specific.
Already eating good.
What'd you say?
Definitely already eating better.
Already eating good.
Yeah, well, it is.
This has always been my thing when it comes to having these discussions. There's only but so much I'm gonna say being a play-by-play and color guy because I've been on all of these platforms except for one, so I'm not gonna mess up my money. However, I think we should diversify the way we do things in the HBCU space. And what I mean by that is I think I'm 43. So for 35 years of my life, ESPN has been the standard in which we watch certain stuff. And I think if we're not getting what we need out of it in the HBCU space, then we need to diversify where that goes. Not saying we leave them alone because that reaches where it is. But as I said on Twitter the other day and in other places, support BCSN, support HBCU League Pass Plus, support HBCU Go, support those places that we BCSN. Are running. Yes, absolutely. Because BCSN has been doing it. Like somebody said the other day, I won't say who, the BCSN stream was better than the host stream. Wait, now I'll let people's opinion be go with that. But at the same time, don't let something be the standard when you have people that look like us running it. So go support those people because I promise those eyeballs, we get more eyeballs on what we're doing as a people. I promise the money comes. Also, we don't have to do things like other folks are doing it. Our culture, our way of doing things. I remember last year, why didn't you show the bands on the games?
Mm-hmm.
You know why? They had to cut to an advertising spot. They don't know anything about what we do. They don't know that folks looking forward to halftime. You cutting out an entire base of people. No. So we don't get any of it. None of it. So how about some people that understand the structure in which we operate in our spaces, in our games, and whatever, and have us formatted in the ways that we do things and still get the advertising dollars because you have more eyes on your TVs or whatever platform it is. So that is what I'm in agreement with more than anything, is that don't shut out someone just because. Make it to where you are supporting your own that supports the schools that have been supporting us for hundreds of years. Don't just say, okay, this is the standard and that's it. No, diversify what we're doing.
Hey, speaking of the four-letter network, hey y'all, they may be the four-letter network, multi-billion-dollar corporation, and they still have audio issues during a live broadcast too. That's all I'm gonna say.
And this is the thing. Let me piggyback on that for a second. Yeah, we're getting these. These part threes, is showing on a different platform. Guess who's still doing the production for some of these? The schools.
Oh wow!
Like you think it's some stories we can delve into. Okay. Support BCSN. Support. That's what you support.
Jamie, you go ahead, Lashanda. Go ahead. Give you the last word, Lashanda.
Last comment.
Okay, because y'all got a four-letter word network too, right? So I'm not understanding if the school is still having to do the heavy lifting. We aren't getting any ad revenue money from our game, to keep it short. Then what is the hurdle that is making this so difficult? I do not get it.
Reluctance to change.
We're gonna have to bring her back on another show, and we can't wait.
We
can't wait this long this time.
Table it, we have to table it full show, and we didn't even get a chance to bring up the Dion viral moment from SWAC Media Day, but we will talk about that here a little bit later on in the show. So, Lashanda, let people know how they can find you, where they can follow you, and where they can watch you.
All right, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Yard Talk HBCU.
Well said. Lashanda, I always appreciate you. We definitely got to do a part 2 to this, so keep your schedule open for next Sunday, please.
I know I dropped everything when y'all tell me. So.
All right. Let's take a break. Come back. We've got Chris Ferguson who's going to join us. We're going to pivot over to the CIAA, find out how Media Day went over in the CIAA. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1. This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.